How do the enormous variety of species arise on Earth? Naturalists are students of the forms and classification of organisms. Naturalists reason that if species had been specifically created for different ways of locomotion, then they should have been built on different plans rather than all being modifications of the same single plan. Evolution, in biology, the process by which a population of interbreeding individuals changes over long periods of time. It is known as descent with modification. Animal species are constantly changing over periods of time. Darwin and Wallace explained the process of evolution by natural selection in 1858. The Darwinian theory that evolution proceeds by differential success in production and reproduction, that idea was thought of by Wallace. In 1859, Darwin published on the origin of species by means of natural selection. In this book, the hypothesis was based on four main observations. Reproduction will tend to increase the population rapidly unless factors limit. Individuals of a given species are not identical. Some of the variation among individuals is inherited, and not all the offspring of a given generation survive to reproduce. He also stated an inference as well in this publication. He stated that the variations among individuals affect the probability of their surviving long enough to reproduce, thereby passing on their individual characteristics of their offspring. Adaptations are a trait that increases the probability that individuals will leave offspring in subsequent generations. This process of selection acting at the level of individuals can substantially change a species. Sexual selection is a form of evolution through natural selection in which members of one sex favor specific heritable traits in the other sex when choosing a reproductive partner. Convergent evolution is the evolutionary process by which responses to similar ecological features bring about similarities in behavior or structure among animals that are only distantly related. Homoplasy is a physical resemblance between physical or behavioral characteristics due to convergent evolution. Homology, on the other hand, is a physical resemblance that is based on common ancestry. Analogy is a similarity of function, although the structures of interest may look different. Darwin's theory suffered from uncertainty about two important processes: the mechanism by which an individual inherits its characteristics from its parents, and the source of individual variation upon which natural selection acts. Genetics is the study of inheritance, including the genes encoded in DNA. Genes are a group of species that resemble each other because of shared inheritance. Figure 6.3 displays the different levels of classification. With these different levels of classification, that is known as phylogeny, the evolutionary history of a particular group of organisms. Kindly put clothes on, for goodness sake, is a mnemonic for kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. This is represented as the family tree. This approach allows scientists to make inferences about the evolution of behavior. Taxonomy is the classification of organisms. Estimates from fossil and DNA evidence do not always agree completely in dating branches of the evolutionary tree.